Hello, everyone. My name is Michele Tryon, and welcome to CHKD Community Connections Take 10, where we invite you to take 10 minutes out of your day to reflect on your parenting journey and consider some strategies that may be helpful in supporting the well being of your family or your students. Today's topic is positive discipline with a focus on 5 to 12-year-olds. This is just a start, 10 minutes of food for thought. I encourage you after listening to continue to reflect on the ideas that are shared. And at any time, you can pause the webinar to consider your thoughts, ideas, and feelings about the content and then restart it. Here are the curiosity questions for this Take 10. So, what is discipline? And what does positive discipline look like? How can I parent and discipline in a positive way that establishes a strong relationship with my child? And ultimately, how can I raise thinking and responsible children? And why does that matter? So here's some food for thought as we're getting started. Consider, what qualities do I want to develop in my child? So think about that. What do you truly value and what would you like to develop? Is it honesty or trustworthiness or hard work ethics or the importance of education, that they're persistent, self-discipline? So what are the qualities you want to develop? And then what challenges do we face in the day to day? So childhood is a journey. We're on that journey with our children. We say the days are long and the years are short. So just in the day to day, is there challenges around bedtime or homework or cleaning up or doing their chores? Are there challenges where they have meltdowns or they talk back? Often that comes up. So what are the challenges that we face in the day to day? And when we think about positive discipline, we're really thinking about how to respond to those challenges by modeling and identifying what we would like our child to actually learn from the mistakes that they make and the way that we correct them. So all behavior is communication. So we see this iceberg here, and generally what we see is what's above the water, right? So underneath is all of this submerged ice. The behavior is what we see, but we want to ask the question, what is my child trying to tell me? What are they communicating to me by the behavior that they're doing? And how can I address that underlying need? So when we hear the word discipline, we want to take that word back. Sometimes we confuse discipline and punishment. So when we hear the idea that what this child needs is some good discipline, we're oftentimes really thinking about they have to pay for what they've done. But in actuality, it comes from this discipline comes from the same Latin root word as disciple. So we're guiding your teaching, leading by example, and it's about creating the foundation of a disciplined environment. So there's some structure in place, and we support a child's development by providing that safety as they learn how the world works and how they work in it. Structure, routine, clear and appropriate expectations, so they're not always guessing about what is the right thing to do. And then scaffolding our child, giving them a little bit of responsibility, just like scaffolding up the side of a building. You don't go from point A to point B very quickly. So as they're going up, as they're learning things, perhaps they're allowed to have a cell phone. But there's going to be many limits on that in the very beginning. And then as they get into the teen years, we can allow them, if they show they're responsible, to have more independence. We always want positive discipline to be strength-based. So remember that question, food for thought. I want you to add one more to it. What strengths does your child have? So what do they do? What's unique about them? What do they do that's really positive that we can build on? We also want to be giving the child positive direction and encouraging feedback. So rather than saying what not to do, we want to say what to do. Use walking feet in the house. Use your indoor voice. Put your clothes in the drawer. And then as they're doing it, we say, thanks for quieting your voice down. Thanks for slowing down your walking. Thanks for putting your clothes away, so that they know that we're paying attention to the positive things that they do. We also want to create connection and that sense of belonging and significance. This family, this classroom would not be the same without you. You are unique, and we need your contributions. Quote here from Jane Nielsen: when a child feels better, they do better. So, positive discipline allows the parent, the caregiver, the educator to focus on strategies that empower children to make positive choices. And it really is about teaching them to discern the difference between right and wrong, between what's going to help them be successful and what might hold them back. And this comes from the work of Becky Bailey, Conscious Discipline. So it's very simple, looking at three parts of the brain. We know the brain is very complex, but here we're looking at the survival part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain, and the thinking part of the brain. So the brain stem is the survival part, and here it's shown as red. It's very lower centers of the brain. And it can very quickly get into fight or flight if the child, or freeze even if the child is feeling overwhelmed, or a sense that they're being stressed. So we want to make sure that the child feels safe and the child feels secure. And we do that with structure and routines, and also with the way that we approach our children. We also want them to get the message that they are cared for. I am here to help you figure out how to solve the problem. So the limbic system is built on connection. Am I cared for? Do I belong? A child who feels connected and safe is much more likely to cooperate because they can get to the thinking part of their brain. So the frontal cortex, which is in green here, is right behind the forehead. So it's the executive functioning. That's where they can make decisions. That's where they can learn new information and new skills. So if it could talk, it would say, is this a good idea? So a child has to be calm and connected. And this is for us too. If we're calm and we connect with the child before we correct, we're going to have much more success in teaching them the skills that they need in regards to positive discipline and eventually self-discipline. Calm and connect before you correct. Here's a positive intent statement. So it doesn't mean the behavior was positive. So we saw the top of the iceberg, but we're really trying to figure out what was underneath that. What did they want and what did they do? We also can be very firm in setting the limit about what is and isn't appropriate. And then this is the part oftentimes we forget, to give them a different strategy. What can they do or say instead of what they just did or said? So let's think about children lining up, maybe in a classroom. You wanted to get to lunch very quickly, so you pushed your way in front of Susie. You didn't know what else to do. Set the limit. Right? Pushing is dangerous. That's not okay. What can you do? Right? You can say, "Hey, Susie, can I get in line with you?" Or you can go to the end of the line, or you can talk to the teacher. But what can you do or say? And for older children, you're going to say, "What do you think you could do or say?" So, what do you think you could do or say if you're anxious to get to lunch? Maybe they can get their stuff ready to go. Maybe they can be in line and quickly, rather than taking their time and looking for their stuff, and they get distracted and then they're the last one in line. So you give it back to them though and ask them, what do you think you could do or say, instead of pushing someone. So, winding up here, consider just one thing. What did you learn, or what did you already know that got reinforced? And then, what is one change I can make? So, we want to stay underwhelmed and practice self compassion. We don't want to try and change everything at once, and we want to be patient with ourselves and our children as we're learning to navigate in maybe some new and different ways. So these are the references that I mentioned. Positive discipline is Jane Nielsen, and conscious discipline, Becky Bailey. You can find lots and lots of information from them if you're interested in exploring some more. So I'd like to encourage you to take 10 often. Listen to other Take 10 webinars or check out our many resources at the Parenting Resources and Dads in Action links on the page. Reach out if you have questions to outreach@chkd.org. Remember, your pediatrician is always your best source for questions about your child's health and well-being. And thank you for allowing CHKD to be your partner in parenting. Be well, everyone.